All right, welcome back. We're going to focus this time on solving systems of equations using elimination. So, to solve a system using elimination, the first thing you need to do is make sure that it is set up for that. You have to make sure that the x terms in both equations are lined up on top of each other. The y terms are lined up, the equal signs are lined up, the constants are lined up. Okay, everything has to be stacked orderly. Then you are going to eliminate one of the variables by adding or subtracting the two equations. Okay? Now, in order for this to work, the variables must have the same, or they can also have opposite coefficients. So if the coefficients are the same, what would we have to do with 3y and 3y to eliminate them? Yes, we would have to subtract, and then there would be 0 y's. It is eliminated. Or if they were opposites, negative 5y and positive 5y, what would we do with these two terms in order to eliminate them or make them 0? We would add them. Negative 5y plus 5y is 0y. So that's how both situations can work. If they're the same, we subtract. If they're opposites, we add. You just need to do whatever is appropriate to make 0. Okay, so let's try a few of these. We're going to use elimination. First thing we have to check for is that everything is lined up. So x's, y's, equal signs, constants. Everything's lined up. So this is set up for elimination. That method makes the most sense right now. Now we need to look at our variables. Do any of our variables have the same coefficient or opposite ones? Yes, the y's. They are opposites. 2y minus 2y is 0. If we just add those together as they are, we will get 0. So I'm going to rewrite this on the right so we can show our work more clearly. Now, when we add these two equations together, we are adding everything. So we are combining all the like terms. So we're going to do 3x plus 4x is 7x. 2y minus 2y is 0y. I don't need to write down 0 of something. Equals 4 plus negative 18 is negative 14. Divide both sides by 7. And x is equal to negative 2. Just like before, once we know x, we need to substitute back in to find y. Now, neither one of these equations here say y equals, so you're just going to pick one. You can pick whichever one looks easiest to you. I think I'm going to pick this top one. The numbers are smaller, there's not as many negatives, and I'm going to substitute negative 2 in x's spot. I'm going to switch colors, and I'll try to squeeze this in on the right. So I will have 3x, negative 2 plus 2y equals 4. Negative 6 plus 2y equals 4. Add 6 to both sides. 2y equals 10. Y equals 5. Now I know my x term and my y term. I can write my ordered pair of negative 2, 5. Notice solving for our second variable took a little bit longer, but personally, I think those steps are pretty easy. There's no distribution really to worry about. It was just one small multiplication part. And after that, a two-step equation. Let's do one more, and then we'll do our favorite kind of problem. A word problem. All right, check. Is everything stacked and lined up? X, Y, equal sign, constants. Yes. Okay. So, do any of them have the same coefficient or opposites? 3 and 2? Nope. 5 and 3? Nope. All right. Can I turn one into the other? Can I turn a 2 into a 3 using multiplication? No. Can't go the other way. Can I turn a 3 into a 5 using multiplication? Nope. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is choose one of our variables. I think I'm just going to choose x, And we are going to have to multiply to get the least common multiple. So the least common multiple of 2 and 3 is 6. They both multiply to 6. How do I change a 3 into a 6? I multiply it by 2. But notice I have to multiply the whole equation by 2. So I'm going to have a 6x plus 10y equals negative 32. Now I want this bottom equation to have a negative 6, so then I can put them together and make a 0. So how do I turn a 2 into a negative 6 using multiplication? I multiply it by negative 3. So I need to multiply every single term here by negative 3. I have to distribute that to the whole equation. So I'll have a negative 6x minus, because a negative times a negative is a negative, or I'm sorry, a negative times a positive is a negative, so negative 9y equals positive 27. Now I can add these two equations together. 6 minus 6 is 0. 10y minus 9y is 1y. You can just write y. Negative 32 plus 27 would be a negative, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your y. So it took a little bit to set up, but then look how quick it was. All right, now we're going to find x. We're going to use one of our originals. Don't use one of the ones you multiplied. Okay, that's just doing the most. All right, so I'm going to put a negative 5 in for y. I'm going to use that bottom one. The numbers are a little bit smaller. All right, so I'm going to do this on the left. 2x plus 3 times negative 5 equals negative 9. 2x minus 15 equals negative 9. Two x equals negative 9 plus 15, that would be positive 6, and x equals 3. Our ordered pair is 3, negative 5. All right, one more together, and then you'll be on your own to do your homework, but I believe in you. You're going to do great. Okay. It says, an office is printing 1,200 copies of a document using 2 printers. During the process, printer A gets a paper jam and prints only half as many copies as printer B. Write and solve a system of equations to determine the number of copies each printer will produce. Okay, well, we have printers A and B, and A and B together need to print 1,200 copies because those are our only printers. So that's one of our equations. But don't forget, it says, during the process, printer A gets a paper jam and prints only half as many copies as B. A makes half of what B makes. There's our second equation. We've got 2 equations and 2 unknowns. We have a system of equations that we can now solve. What method do you think would be best, substitution or elimination? Are they stacked up with opposite coefficients, or does one start with x equals or y equals or a equals or b equals? Yeah, it's that second part. It starts with a equals. So I can just take this a and drop it right in, and we'll use substitution. That's the most efficient method for this problem. So I'm going to rewrite this. 1/2 of b plus b equals 1,200. 1/2 plus 1 is 3/2 b equals 1,200. Remember, we have to use that multiplicative inverse of 2/3. Multiply each side by 2/3. Multiply by the reciprocal, and then we'll know what b is equal to. I'm going to grab my handy dandy calculator here. 1,200 times 2 divided by 3 is 800. So printer B needs to make 800. A has to make half as much as that, which means A has to make 400. When it's a word problem, you can just leave your answer like this because I answered the question. It says, write and solve a system of equations to determine the number of copies each printer will produce. B will produce 800, A will produce 400. All right. So as you are working through your problems this week, I want you to be thinking about this question. How do you know if you should use substitution or elimination? In some of your homework problems, it tells you, okay, but some of them it doesn't. And how can you make the best decision? So think about that because that'll help you to be more efficient and quick, which means less mistakes in solving your problems. All right, have a good week.